Hello everyone, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. We're trying to figure out what is going on with this guy. Made as a gift. Descend of the Great Lord, is such my political back by centuries of history. Who is Ami Faye anyway? I believe plaintiff claims she had the crystal made for his ancestor. That would mean it was made in Japan, right? Oh! Okay. So what do I have that proves that it wasn't made in Japan? That doesn't help me at all. I don't think... Research notes on the Song of Ceremony and the box containing the Founder's Orb. Mitama motif from Crane founding period. Wait, hold on. Oh shoot, is my face in the way? Alright, what else we got? To crack the riddle, the opaque crystal orb is the key. Crystal of Ami Faye was discovered to be missing from the Etitian storehouse at 10 a.m. The storehouse lock had been picked. Hold on. As thanks, Ami Faye gave the crystal she had specially made as a gift. I feel like that's what I need to... This is the statement. This is absolutely the statement. So what makes sense here? This is research notes on the Founder's Orb. When Dragon and Tiger battle, the Founder offers divine protection. Butterfly embraces the Mitama. The favor of the orb is bestowed. I really don't know. Okay. Things we can eliminate. Attorney's badge. Photo. Wait, hold on. No, that's just of the death. That's just the death. No big deal. Not completely irrelevant to what we're doing. Study diagram, that doesn't help. Orb transfer agreement. I agreed to hand over the Founder's Orb to the Defiant Dragons, file come to no harm. That does not help. Helicopter drone operated by the doctor's kit, equipped with camera and a microphone. The camera and microphone part I think is going to be important. Stuck to the insole of the doctor's boot. It probably got there when the Founder tried to hide. Raincoat. Or eyesight, couldn't read anything. I've deciphered the patterns, but have yet to crack the riddle. The opaque crystal orb is the key. So, the things I can't rule out basically come down to the Founder's Orb itself. The research notes. And that's it, really? Maybe the email? The opaque crystal orb is the key. I want to do this because literally nothing else works. Is there any... Okay. Ancestor praise benevolent ruler. Can't really dispute that. Protect the spirit mediums. A minority back then from the rest of the locals. Can't dispute that. That's the only thing. A descendant. I mean, that's a lie too, I guess. I had to guess, but I literally don't know what else it could be. This is just sheer process of elimination. Objection. Okay. I'm hoping they'll explain why. You stated that Amife had the crystal made for your ancestor. So am I to assume it was made in Japan? That's right. The craftsmanship is unbeatable. Well, that's strange. I don't see how your so-called crystal could have been made there. What are you talking about? Oh, that it was made in Khura'in. From Khura'in founding period. Okay, never mind. I should have been able to figure that out. It's quite obvious if you take a closer look at the... What? Is it the Mitama design?
Take that!
Take a look at the distinctive design here. According to Dr. Buff, it's a Mitama motif dating back to the early days of the Kingdom of Khura'in. Okay. Woo. The Kingdom of Khura'in. You base this on? Here. This piece of evidence, Your Honor. These are the doctor's research notes on the Founder's Orb. This is the box in which the orb was originally stored. I was kind of covering up, but I mean, I could still see the side. It features the same pattern as the one found on the orb. They do look like the same pattern. Therefore, I assert that the disputed item must have been made in the Kingdom of Khura'in. No. My placard.
Objection!
Khura'in channeling technique originated in the Kingdom of Khura'in, and Amife is known to have traveled there to train. With that in mind, what's to say she didn't bring that pattern back with her?
Objection!
But since this is clearly a Khura'inese design, not even you can deny the possibility that it was made there in the Kingdom of Khura'in. Anything's possible to some extent. That doesn't make it true. So you can't conclude that the orb is from Khura'in based solely on that pattern. If it were that simple, I could just as easily say it's Japanese. I have to agree with Mr. Wright. The pattern alone proves nothing. That also means there's no basis to claim the item in dispute was made in Japan either. At this rate, we're going nowhere fast. He's right. We're just spinning our wheels here. I wonder if we have any evidence that could break this stalemate. Evidence that could break this stalemate. Beg pardon? I feel like I have nothing in terms of evidence. So either we're gonna bluff our way. I feel like these questions are the trickiest. Because if it is indeed I don't have evidence, I can't really prove the negative, right? Versus I could come in here and find, oh, like this is a thing to dispute it. But like maybe I'm just not thinking about it the right. If I don't find anything, I'm just not thinking about it the right way. So I don't know what to do besides just like go through all the evidence. Something that proves it was made in Khura'in. Picture of Apollo's dead. Dead guy. the floor plan. The floor plan proves that this orb was made in Korea and not Japan. In the box containing the Founder's Orb, Song of Ceremony. From Korean founding period. I agree to hand over the Founder's Orb to the Defiant Dragons. I feel like I have nothing. Again, these questions are tricky. There doesn't seem to be anything we can use, at least not at this point. Well, unless we can find something, this trial won't be going anywhere. Wait. That's much better. What's his deal? I have a suggestion. Why don't we consider this from a different angle? I'm listening. What if the Defiant Dragons really were authorized to take possession of the relic? I'm afraid I don't know where you're going with this, Mr. Wright. Consider the Orb Transfer Agreement, which states, I agree to hand over the Founder's Orb to the Defiant Dragons if I will come to no harm. What if, as the last part suggests, this was written under duress? That would render the agreement null and void. What are you suggesting, Mr. Wright? While you were on your little cave expedition, I was investigating Dr. Buff's accident. And there was something you overlooked, Mr. Justice. Namely, that his accident might have actually been murder. What? Murder? Well, we all knew that. Come on, you're not hitting me with anything I didn't already know. Mr. Wright, you do realize such statements are not to be made lightly. Are you suggesting the doctor was murdered by the Defiant Dragons? Yes, but follow me on this for a sec. The books that came tumbling down were from the archaeology shelf. However, among the mountain of books was a single volume on psychology. What's more, there was some blood on it. And you feel this is important because the books that came tumbling down were from the top shelf, the archaeology books. We know this because the doctor's books were meticulously organized by subject. Archaeology took up the entire shelf, so that psychology book is completely out of place. Come to think of it, the shelves were arranged quite carefully. And it's also worth noting that psychology books only take up a tiny part of the bottom shelf. I wonder why a book on psychology was found amid the pile of archaeology books. But I believe I can explain what that single out-of-place book was doing there. It was a murder weapon. The doctor was struck from behind while selecting a psychology book from the shelf. And that's when the blood got on the book? Oh, alright. Precisely. And to make it look like an accident, he was buried under a mountain of archaeology books. Wait a second. This is all just speculation, right? Or do you have proof that it was murder? Of course I do. Couldn't we figure out... you do? On a hunch, Detective Skye imagined the doctor's head wound. Could we also check him for a fall? She found that he'd been struck by the corner of some object or another. Well, wait, what? A wound like that couldn't have resulted from a fall to the floor, you know. You understand what this means, Mr. Justice? The wound makes it crystal clear that Dr. Buff was murdered. What? Well, that was unexpected. Was it, though? Who'd have thought we'd break out of the stalemate like this? He pulled the ladder right out from under us. Still, if he thinks that's enough to make me back down, he's got another thing coming. Even if the cause of death was murder, what makes you think it was the Defiant Dragons? You should know better than to hurl baseless accusations. Did you forget who you're up against, Mr. Justice? You didn't actually think I'd come to court without witnesses and evidence, did you? What are you talking about? I'd like to request further testimony from the plaintiff. Specifically, I would like the court to hear how he saw one of the rebels leaving the crime scene. He saw what? Alright. If he can prove it was murder, that's the end of our client's right to the orb. Did he have this up his sleeve the whole time? How could Mr. Wright do this to us? He was just waiting to spring this trap. You activated my trap card. This trial has taken another unexpected turn. But I must mention, Mr. Wright, that you have yet to identify the murder weapon. The object used to commit the murder was not located at the scene of the crime. The murderer likely disposed of it elsewhere. Dr. Buff's autopsy report. Dr. Buff was struck with the corner of some object. The time of death is between 10 and 11 p.m. Well, I never thought we'd be deliberating the issue of murder at a civil trial. That does seem out of place. All right, Mr. Attition Wimperson, your testimony, if you please.
Prepare to be dazzled by charismatic oration forged in the crucible of campaign battles.
Please stop. He's evil. Or stupid. Potentially both, but definitely at least one. The rebel's crime?
That evening I was walking alone, lost in thought. I passed by the doctor's house, and that's when I saw Mr. Rebel. He was running out at the front door. It was around 10 at night. Surely that must have been him fleeing the scene of his crime. The vote for me is a vote to end such violence. That is my promise to you.
Okay. So the plaintiff saw a possible suspect fleeing from the doctor's residence. It was within the window of the estimated time of death. That's a rebel. What in the world were you doing there then? Study photo updated. Attition saw Dats fleeing the scene the night of the murder. One of the books is stained with coffee. Seems Mr. Rebel was loitering about Crane Village that day. There's evidence he was in the doctor's study as well. Isn't that right, Mr. Justice? You mean the suitcase, which clearly means he was invited in. Exactly. He must have been in quite the rush to leave that behind. Oh, and by the way, Your Honor, Mr. Rebel just so happens to be sitting in the gallery today. See, that's him trying to escape as we speak. The bailiff, don't let that man get away. Right, you backstabber. Why are you doing this to me? Alright, the counsel/defense may question the plaintiff/witness once more. Please proceed, Mr. Justice.
Hold it!
Thought about what? Murder? Why were you taking a walk?
This society is inundated with serious problems that must be solved, and as a politician, I'm always on the job thinking hard about possible solutions, even on my walks.
Thanks for the non-answer.
When we live out our comfy lives, there are starving children who suffer in the back alleys of our major cities. It's not in me to ignore such suffering.
So what are you actually doing?
The vote for me is a vote to end hunger and for world peace.
Yes, Mr. Attition Wimperson, we are well aware of your outstanding character. Now please continue with your testimony.
I can practically hear my poll numbers surging. Now on with my speech. After all, the voting public must be informed of the magnificence that is me.
Gonna pass by the doctor's house, and that's when I saw Mr. Rebel. Where exactly were you when you saw Mr. Rebel?
Right here, under this tree. I saw him dashing out of the Dr. Buff's front door.
I don't think you did. And he didn't notice you.
No, I was hidden by a tree.
Is it really all important to know from where the plaintiff saw Mr. Rebel? Yes. Yes, I believe it matters a lot. I ask that it please be added to the witness's testimony.
I was under the tree when I saw Mr. Rebel.
Hold it!
What were you doing under that tree?
The lack of lateral thinking. That is a politician's downfall.
What?
That is why if I'm elected, I promise to think outside the box.
The question was, what were you doing under the tree, Mr. Titian Wimperson?
I suppose I can't expect a plebeian such as yourself to understand my grand design.
Yeah, try me, O Lord of the Plebs. Mr. Titian Wimperson, I believe the court is well aware of your grand political vision. Now, let's have the rest of your testimony, if you please.
Yeah, I can hardly wait for the upcoming election.
Yeah, we get it.
Hold it!
Did you notice anything unusual?
Yes, his behavior was incredibly suspicious. His eyes were darting all around as he ran off in a total panic. As soon as I saw that, I knew he had done something, and it probably wasn't good.
Despite that, you still didn't report it to the police?
Who would have thought he had killed Dr. Buff? Not me. That's why I didn't report him.
Wait!
So the witness didn't notify the police. Is that an important statement, Mr. Justice?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's important. I request that the witness add it to his testimony.
Sure, why not?
That would have been impossible. Ooh, is it the study diagram or is it the picture? Ooh. I feel like I start with the picture and then the diagram is like my... what we'll end up using in a minute? Does that make sense? Yeah, there's no way you could... I'm gonna use that one first.
Objection!
Yeah. Mr. Titian Wimperson, rather than Mr. Rebel, wasn't there something else that should have had your undivided attention?
Like what? Oh yes, of course. The politician must also keep his finger on the electorate's pulse for
Sorry, but you're way off.
I am, Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice?
If the witness saw Mr. Rebel from his position here, then he should have also been able to see the doctor's body. After all, it was right next to a huge window.
No, I believe you have a point there.
With the body that clearly visible to the witness, it's unthinkable that he wouldn't have reported it to the police.
Would the witness care to respond? I thought he was napping.
Did he fall asleep? No, he just powered down.
Mr. Titian Wimperson. Mr. Titian Wimperson. There are many sense to any issue.
What did I ever do to deserve this? In any case, I'd like the court to acknowledge the inconsistency in the witness's testimony. Mr. Titian Wimperson, did you really see Mr. Rebel?
Yes. No, I mean...
Wait, what?
Hold it!
Where do you think you're going?
No, I thought I'd return to my seat, seeing as I already answered the question.
This isn't some small town hall debate, so you just stay right there until I say we're through.
I'll have that to run that by my campaign manager before
Objection!
Blair. Mr. Titian Wimperson, I think it's time for you to come clean. So then, does this mean he didn't see Mr. Rebel? As your lawyer, Mr. Titian Wimperson, I advise you to divulge that matter we discussed. Silence is no longer an option. And we'll just find out what that matter is in the next episode. I have a feeling this is going to get worse for us, actually. Get that feeling? I got that feeling. We'll find out in the next one. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.